Hello and welcome to VLearn Virtual Learning Network. This is session number 11, Structure, Words and Discourse of Language to Literature. Topics to be covered in this session are what is cohesion, definite reference, and the different types of other references. What is cohesion? Let us start with structure, words and discourse. You have already studied about the structure words and their function in a sentence. But you are aware that we do not communicate in isolated sentences. The sentences that we speak or write are meaningfully linked to each other. This meaningful unit is called a discourse. Discourse refers to anything that is spoken or written or whatever length which forms a unified whole. Its forms can be that of prose or poetry, a dialogue or a monologue. It is obvious that all the words and structures used in particular text play a role in creating a meaningful discourse. But there are some words that play a crucial role in connecting sentences together. तो कुछ वर्ड्स होते हैं जो बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले करते हैं सेंटेंस को कनेक्ट करने में. These words are some of the structures words that you have read in the previous sessions also. The linking of sentences is known as cohesion. Like example, I know he said it. This sentence you will agree is perfectly grammatical. You will say that it is perfectly grammatical, no problems. It is also perfectly intelligible. In that you can understand what it means. But you know that the sentence is somehow incomplete and you cannot interpret it because you do not know who he is and what is he supposed to have said. However, you are aware that he and it are meant to be linked with some other statement. यहाँ पे he और it जो है वो किसी और statement के साथ भी link कर सकते हैं, which has occurred before and which will indicate you the identity of he and what was said in it. In other words, we have to recover their interpretation elsewhere from the text. Now, one more example, which is a part of an instruction for a recipe, like boil the potatoes, after that peel them. So it is clear that them in the second sentence refers to potatoes in the first sentence. This cross reference gives cohesion to the two sentences so that we can interpret them as part of discourse. The main thing to notice is that the two items, them and the potatoes, refers to the same thing. That is, they are co-referential. Next is definite reference. Definite reference में हम सभी personal references को use करते हैं. That is I, we, you, he, she, it, they. Or possessive pronouns mine, your. और determiners my, your. Demonstrative references use करते हैं हम इनमें, like this, that, those, these, used either as pronoun or as determiners, the article the and the adverb here and there. Definite reference की बात करें तो there are certain items in every language which have the property of reference. That is, instead of having a meaning of their own, they make a reference to something else for the interpretation. This something else can be within or outside the loop or outside the text. Example, this something else can be within or outside the text. You can have an example of this, like upon my arrival on the island, I did all I could to win the friendship of Taratanga its unofficial chief. I explained to her the reasons that had brought me to her little Pacific island. This is being taken from a craving or a craving for innocence in Romain's Grey Hissing Tales. So, who does my and I refer to? Can you tell me who does my and I refer to here? Yes, of course, obviously they refer to the author who is not identified in the text. However, her refers to Taratonga who is mentioned within the text. Cohesion lies in continuity of reference within a text, and it is with this that we are concerned. We have so far given examples of reference which go back to the preceding text for the interpretation. There may be reference items which require the text for the interpretation, like the room was warm and clean, the curtains drawn, the 2 table lamps alight, hers and the one by the empty chair opposite. Mary Maloney was waiting to her husband to come from work. So we can say here you will notice that hers refers to Mary Maloney, which occurs afterwards. Reference can therefore be seen in terms of the following tree diagrams. So reference here you can understand it by a given example, and with this particular diagram, reference means situation outside the text or within the text. Within the text की बात करें तो to the preceding text or to the following text. In this unit we are mainly concerned with reference within the text. In English, the structure words that refer to something else in a text are usually personal and possessive pronouns and certain determiners. This is something known as personal reference. Demonstrative reference is conveyed by demonstrative pronouns, certain determiners including the definite article and certain adverbs. Now, personal reference. Personal reference की बात करें तो it involves the use of personal pronouns, जैसा कि मैंने आपको बताया I, we, he, she, it, they, possessive pronouns mine, yours, etc. and certain determiners my, your, etc. So here is a list of all the personal pronouns. There are certain points we need to remember about these structure words and their role in connecting sentences together. There is a distinction to be made in the interpretation of the first and the second persons and the third persons. The first and the second persons forms do not normally refers to a referent in the text at all. They are generally interpreted by the reference to the context of the situation. However, अगर हम direct speech की बात करें तो these items can be interpreted textually by referring back to the preceding text or forward to the following text. The example is I am giving you here which will make this clear. I am not quite sure where I am, she said to Mrs. Peckinson as she lay in bed. Do you mind explaining? Mrs. Peckinson explained tactfully. Oh yes, said the princess. I remember, and I had an accident in the mountains, didn't I? Didn't we meet a man who had gone mad and who shot my horse from under me? Yes, you met a man who had gone out of his mind. In the first sentence, you know by referring to the later part of the text that I am and I refer to the princess. Similarly, in the sentence, do you mind explaining? You refers to Mrs. Peckinson. In the last sentence, Yes, you met a man. You refers to the princess. While in the example given here, first and the second person pronouns are interpreted by the reference. Two items contained in the text in the next two examples. In either case, there is no reference within the text, but we can gather information about the identity of you and I from the situation. You will discover that in your reading in general also, absence of any reference in the text for the first person and second person pronouns does not lead to any sense of incompleteness. On the other hand, when the third person is used, it implies a persistence or a presence of a reference somewhere. In the text, in the absence of such an example or such a referent, the text would appear incomplete. These are, of course, exceptions. Even the third person can refer to a person in the context of the situation. So, the following question, oh, he's come, has he? Answer, yes, he is waiting outside. The nature of the reply shows that the identity of he is clear to the person addressed. In the case of the person plural, we, the identity of the reference, may be found in the text. Therefore, it is a cohesive device, or it may be understood from the situation. You can have, he is turned to his comparisons or companions with a cruel smile. We have got him, he said. We got the rhino. So, like this, he and his companions in the preceding text, ऐसे ही बहुत से और एग्जाम्पल्स हैं. एन फ्रैंक की डायरी के हो गए, कई सारे ऐसे रेफरेंसेस आप कॉमन रीडिंग में आपको मिल जाएंगे. हाउएवर यू कैन इंटरप्रेट द आइडेंटिटी ऑफ एनी pronoun from the text or context of the situation. The third person, it refers from all other personal pronouns, in that it may refer not only to a particular person, animal or object, but also to a portion of the object. The first occurrence of its and it refers to different people, but the next occurrence of it refers to neither to an animal nor to an object, but to telling a story. The use of it is known as extended reference because it is not for something special or the given one, so it is extended reference. Next is demonstrative reference. Demonstrative reference की अगर हम बात करें तो we often point to things in our environment by using gestures, but we can also point by using words. So, demonstrative reference is usually or essentially a form of verbal pointing. It involves the use of demonstrative pronouns like this, that, these, those, determiners this, that, these, those, the, and the adverb here and there. Examples अगर हम देखें तो conditions are fairly good here, but there has been a great deal of discontent. This is what I can't understand. Or another example, the working conditions are fairly good here, but there is a great deal of discontent. Yes, that's what I can understand. So in general, this, these here imply proximity or closeness to the speaker. That, these, there imply distance from the speaker. In a dialogue, there is a tendency from the speaker to use this to refer to something he himself has said, and that to what someone else has said. This distinction is clearly related to that of near the speaker versus not near. What is said by the speaker is textually speaking near him, whereas what is said by someone else is not. So you can see closeness or proximity can also be interpreted in terms of time reference. That refers to or tends to be associated with past time reference, and this with time reference in the present and the future. Like we went to the movies yesterday evening. That was our first outing after several months. So reference to the past. We are going to the movies this evening. This will be our first outing after several months. So you know that this, that go with or refer to countable singular or uncountable nouns. These and those go with or refer to countable plural nouns. Example, I suppose they are juniors. So she said this last word 2 or 3 times over to herself. What does it determiner this go with? It go with the countable singular noun word. Determiner this, that, these, those. Example, this pen, these boys. It refers to class of nouns. कभी class of nouns को refer करता है ये determiners without any restriction. किसी restriction के बिना जब हम किसी class of noun को refer करते हैं तो उनके लिए भी हम this, that, these, those का use करेंगे. However, जो demonstrative pronouns हैं, example, where are you taking it away? That is my pen. While they can refer to non-human objects without any restriction, are highly restrictive in their reference to human nouns. They can occur in sentences like, would you like to meet the artist who made these beautiful portraits with me? Let me introduce you to him. This is Mr. Hussain. So demonstrative pronouns like personal pronouns, it can refer to an extended text. As mentioned earlier, an extended reference does not refer merely to persons or objects in the text, but to identifiable portions of the text. Demonstrative adverbs जैसे कि here या there as reference items behave करते हैं like this and that respectively. Here जो है वो closeness या फिर proximity show करता है to the speaker, while there indicates distance. Like there is a room next to me, why don't you sit here? So there is no room next to me but there is an empty seat at the next table, why don't you sit there? Farther from the speaker. So both here and there can refer to the extended text. The reference in this case, however, is not to a place but means in this context or matter in saying so. So in this case, this, that, all these, it sometimes refers to as extended text. It is generally believed that the signifies an item in the text that has occurred before. However, you will find that most instances of the in a text are contained in the context of the situation or even refer to the later item in the text. So that is all about the different references. Now do it yourself for you. Read the following passage. One day, the Good Journal announced a special offer of 8,000 rupees. It excited Rama Rao's vision of a future tenfold. He studied the puzzle. There were only 4 doubtful commas in it, and he might have to send in at least 4 entries. A large outlay was indicated. You must give me 5 rupees this time, he said to his wife, at which that good lady became speechless. He had become rather insensitive to such things these days, but even he could not help feeling the atrocious nature of his demand. So you need to indicate the reference used in the paragraph. That is all for this session. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Happy learning. We learning.